The new year can often mean out with the old and in with the new. And if you haven't tried Lumi Whole Body Deodorant, I would say bring it in as part of the new. I absolutely love Lumi. You can use it from your head to your toe. It is safe anywhere on your body. Lumi Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals to over 40% off their starter pack. Just use code OVER50 for 15% off your first purchase at lumideodorant.com. That's code OVER50 at LUMEDEODORANT.com. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Lumi. Does the afternoon roll around? You suddenly find yourself a little sleepy. You think, man, I could really use a cup of coffee right now, but you know it'll keep you up at night. Q Mud Water. What a great way to give yourself a little energy boost without the coffee jitters, without caffeine dependency, and without lost sleep. Are you ready to make the switch to cleaner energy? Just head to mudwater.com and grab your starter kit today. Right now, our listeners get an exclusive deal up to 43% off your entire order, plus free shipping and a free rechargeable frother when you use code OVER50. That's right, up to 43% off with code OVER50 at MUDWTR.com. After your purchase, they'll ask how you found them. Please support our show. Let them know we sent you. Keep your energy natural and refreshing all year long with Mud Water, because life's too short for anything less than clean, delicious energy. A lot of us are focused on big lifestyle changes at the beginning of the year, and that may include gut health for you. And if so, good for you, because fact is, we are learning so much about how the gut microbiome is key to our mental health, immunity, and of course, digestion. And if you're looking for digestive support, Ritual has your back, or your biome, with Symbiotic Plus. It's a 3-in-1 supplement of clinically studied pre, pro, and postbiotics to support a balanced gut microbiome with daily use. The daily 3-in-1 prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic features 2 of the world's most clinically studied probiotic strains that support gut and digestive health. So get your gut going. Support a balanced gut microbiome with Ritual Symbiotic Plus. Get 25% off your first month at ritual.com/over50. That's ritual.com/over50 for 25% off your first month. Welcome to today's episode of Over 50 and Flourishing. Happy New Year. I know everybody is starting January of 2025 with a lot of big goals, big visions, sure. Big dreams, big, lists of things that they want to do. And I wanted to bring in my dear friend, dermatologist Marjory Nigro. Dr. Nigro, you've been on this podcast many times.
Always a pleasure.
I'm telling you, that Retinol 101 video that we did, just kind of breaking down the differences.
People really loved it, right?
They loved it. It's
great.
It's a testimony to you and just how much information you have. And we were able, and we can always link that video in, the difference between retinol and retinoid. Yes. And it was so informative. And this year, as we start off the new year, what is everybody's number one New Year's resolution?
Oh, please, forever, right? Lose weight, be in better shape, take better care of themselves. It's always the top, if not the top first, the top 5.
Right, which is exactly why I wanted to bring you on today, because one conversation that we have yet to have on Over 50 and Flourishing is the conversation about GLP-1s. And, I've talked about it numerous times in the news business, but I really haven't had the opportunity to have the full conversation that I want to have about it in podcast form, because I really believe that something as important as this, as new as this, as widely used and prescribed as this, maybe as misunderstood as this, needs the time and attention to really break it down and to digest this.
Absolutely.
You are well-versed in this for a number of reasons. You are a prescriber, but you're also a user. Now, that will come as a shock to a lot of people, because they're going to look at you and say, well, wait a second, she's like a size 0. What is she doing on a GLP-1? GLP-1.
Yeah, but
Explain
I use
that.
it for my diabetes. I have been diagnosed with diabetes in my first pregnancy when I was 36 years old. And it is kind of a genetic form of diabetes. So I've been treated for that for all these years. And I've used GLP-1 for many, many years, because a lot of people think those drugs are new, but the reality is they're really not new. I started in one of them around 18, 20 years ago. The old versions were not obviously as sophisticated as the new ones are. You had to take it twice a day, so many shots, you would forget, so your control wasn't that good. And then once the GLPs came out, they give you much, much better control of sugar levels, and they regulate your curve very, very well. And they're just used once a week. So it makes life so much easier for all of us.
So the primary reason for it was to help people manage diabetes. So it's
Definitely.
helping to manage blood sugar,
That's
which
it.
in turn does what to weight?
So what happens is once you're managing the blood sugars, the GLPs, they stimulate the pancreas to make more insulin, because as you guys know, in diabetes, we don't make enough insulin to control your blood sugars accordingly. So it's kind of like having an air conditioning without a thermostat. So sometimes it's too much, sometimes it's too little. So with the GLP-1, it stimulates the pancreas to produce more and better insulin. So you control your sugars better. Another thing of a GLP-1 is it's an agonist of receptors in the brain. Because when you eat, there's a hormone called glucagon. That is a hormone that is produced when you eat, and that hormone goes to your brain and tells you you're satiated, so stop eating. Lots of research has been done about that, and we think that genetically some people produce more, some people produce less. That's why some people are naturally thinner versus other people. So the thin people get satiated very fast. The people that have a problem controlling the weight, it takes longer to produce the hormones, so they don't produce enough. And so the hunger still stays, and that's why there's this feeling, I don't eat that much. I'm always hungry. And I keep gaining weight. It's because your society center is not being stimulated appropriately. So you still think you're hungry and you are ingesting more food, because it is basically no way out of that. You gain weight because you eat more than what you burn. That's it. It's the control of how much you exercise, burning every day, and how much you eat. So if your appetite is not controlled, you're eating much more than what you need and what you burn, and that's when you accumulate.
Is it a misnomer? Because people will say, well, if you eat more than your body needs, your stomach grows and expands, and therefore
People
you're going
love to say that.
Right? Is that like an old wives' tale? Where did that come from?
The stomach can
Right, the stomach like grows and can handle
expand.
so much more food.
And people say that just because when you eat, you're kind of puffy.
Right.
So because the stomach really stretches when there's food inside, but you don't have, because you eat more, you need to eat more because your stomach is too big. The stomach has no control over the hunger. The control is right here. So when you have the hormones telling you, stop, you stop, you can't eat anymore. But when you don't have enough of those hormones, you keep eating and you keep feeling excruciatingly hungry the whole day. Any kind of diet is painful because you need that food because you are really literally psychologically hungry. Of course, there are the cases of people, as they say, that alleviate stress through food. They're called the emotional eaters.
Right. How do you know the difference between the two?
Because you eat, that's your main pleasure. So the pleasure of eating is bigger than the majority of things in your life. So you're stressed, you want to eat. You're tired, you want to eat. You're happy, you want to eat. You come home, that's the first thing you think about. You change your life towards eating. You change the way you go or come back from work to pass by that donut shop or by that pastry shop. So those are more emotional eaters versus the people that they don't think about food so much, but they just ingest a lot of food because they're never full. They never feel full. And that's when the semaglutides get in really, really well, because they give you more satiety. They also decrease the speed that your stomach empties out. So as your stomach keeps the food a little bit longer, you feel full longer, so you don't need to eat as much. So the two drugs, the two families of drugs that are used are the semaglutides and the trizepatide. They're very similar, and they act in a similar way. Of course, there are pathways that are a little bit different. And the semaglutides are more used for sugar control. They also have the effect of you eating less and losing weight. The tirzepatide is a much more intense weight loss than semaglutide.
Is that a newer class of drug?
It is a newer class. It came after the semaglutides, and tirzepatide is the commercial name Mounjaro.
Okay.
So that one is more focused on the weight loss, so it stimulates your satiety center even more. It slows your stomach empty, and the advantage of those drugs is that they have much less side effects than the semaglutides that are the Ozempic family, right? Semaglutides make you feel a little bit sick to your stomach, and at the beginning you have a little bit of a problem feeling sick, a little bit of gas on your stomach. And tirzepatide don't do that, but they make you lose too much weight. So for me, not a candidate for
Got it.
that.
So you would have somebody with just strictly blood sugar issues, diabetes issues would stick with a semaglutide.
Yeah.
So semaglutide, tirzepatide, all of these fall under the GLP-1.
GLP-1.
What is GLP-1?
GLP is the glucagon receptors, the hormone I told you about.
Yes.
So it is the receptor that the glucagon hormone sticks to tell you, you ate, you're good, you don't need any more. So that's the receptor name, because as you know, it's kind of a puzzle, right? It's a piece that matches exactly on their receptors. So we have receptors for hormones, any hormone, testosterone, progesterone, estrogen. Glucagon has their receptors too. So GLP, they go to that receptor as if they were the piece of the puzzle, but they are coming from the outside. You make glucagon. So you're putting an extra piece to get an extra result in more satiety, feeling you don't need to eat anymore, and feeling good about it. And it turns off that enormous craving for food. And I feel that completely. I mean, food becomes, you still enjoy, my God, I love food, I cook, and I do all of that. But you don't have that same craving the whole time. Where's my next meal? And can I have some candy? And can I have and it also turns off a little bit the craving for alcohol, wine, alcohol in general. It decreases a little bit. And alcohol, we all know,
It's
right?
not, right.
It's a
Anything in
huge
excess is not good for
source
you.
of calories, and it's a huge source of sugar.
Right.
It is, I love my wine, I love my drink once in a while, but we all know that we ingest an enormous amount of what we call empty calories. They do nothing for you other than just bringing sugar to your life. And we don't need all that sugar.
Right. Is all of this, here's the thing, and I'm so glad we're having this conversation because there's such debate, right?
Yeah.
You've got your kind of natural holistic camp that will say, look, you can manage all of these things on your own. You change your diet, you change your lifestyle, you change how you think about food, you work on and manage the emotional triggers to food. You can self-regulate and do these things.
Yes.
Are there camps or people or, certain individuals who through even all of those measures still will need the help of a GLP-1?
Absolutely.
Who are they?
And I think they're the ones that tried the regular way for at least 1, 2, 3 years, and they couldn't get there. And so that's the way for them to say, okay, there's something to help me. And I got into this, of course, first of all, because I took it and I saw the results that it had on my blood sugars, and I just feel so much healthier and better. But of course, as you know, it's not a miracle. It's not a cure at all. You really need to get healthy. Several researchers were questioning, these drugs make you lose muscle, make you lose bone, make you lose. If you don't exercise, yes, and even if you don't exercise and don't take any of those drugs, you do lose muscle as you age and you do lose a lot of bone. So those drugs are not the
end all be all.
No.
Yeah.
They're not. Okay.
You still have to have your lifestyle.
You're going to do that shot once a week and you're going to be super healthy. That is not true. I mean, we really need to exercise. As we age, menopause, women, we need to exercise more. And we tend to exercise less. That's why I always hear from patients, oh, yes, it's because I'm post-menopause, menopause. When you do a research, it has nothing to do. The hormones don't make you gain or lose weight. Having less estrogen and progesterone are not going to make you gain or lose. What they do is make you more tired. So when you lose the hormones of the young age, you want to exercise less. So all of this, and then you eat more, and then you're more emotional about things. So it's a whole cycle that you're going to have to break. So trying organically is always the first choice, okay? Change your habits about food. Try to do real meals. This whole thing of eating in your car, snacking, standing up on a corner. Now, I'm from Brazil, so in Brazil for us, this was like
meals
major
are important.
Meals.
Yes.
You have your breakfast as a family. You have your lunch. Many, many times you come home for lunch or you sit with friends for lunch. You have a dinner in a family all the time. And here, this is so rare.
You're right.
Families eat in front of the TV. Everybody uses a little plastic bag or takeout, and there's no interaction. No one talks. And that's another thing that slows down the pace of eating, right? You're talking, you're socializing, you're eating a little bit. You give time for the glucagon hormone to tell your brain, you did it.
I'm actually full because I instead of shoveling food down my face, I actually stopped to have a conversation, which is exactly what we're doing. And we are breaking down semaglutide, GLP-1s, all of the different types of drugs now that fall under this umbrella, and really dispelling myths and getting to the root of the situation, which is why I have Dr. Marjory Nigro with me today on today's episode of Over 50 and Flourishing. Timely that it's at the start of the new year when many people might be talking to their doctors at this point about these things and having these conversations. And I really want to arm people with the right information to be able to ask their practitioner and to have full knowledge also of what they're getting into if they don't get all the information from their practitioner. So we will further this conversation right after this quick commercial break. We're back right after this. The new year can often mean out with the old and in with the new. And if you haven't tried Lumi Whole Body Deodorant, I would say bring it in as part of the new. I absolutely love Lumi. You can use it from your head to your toe. It is safe anywhere on your body. The body deodorant cream, amazing. The wipes I pack with me wherever I go, especially if I travel. Blocks odor all day, controls odor for up to 72 hours. It's baking soda free and paraben free. You'll smell great too. Clean tangerine, lavender sage, or even toasted coconut. Lumi Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals to over 40% off their starter pack. Just use code OVER50 for 15% off your first purchase at lumideodorant.com. That's code OVER50 at LUMEDEODORANT.com. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Lumi. Does the afternoon roll around? You suddenly find yourself a little sleepy. You think, man, I could really use a cup of coffee right now, but you know it'll keep you up at night. Q Mud Water. What a great way to give yourself a little energy boost without the coffee jitters, without caffeine dependency, and without lost sleep. And if you're a matcha lover, Mud Water's Matcha Starter Kit is an absolute must try. To use Mud Water, you simply drop the powder into your favorite mug, pour some water on it, give it a mix. You can even add cream or honey, whatever you like to give it a boost. Are you ready to make the switch to cleaner energy? Just head to mudwater.com and grab your starter kit today. Right now, our listeners get an exclusive deal up to 43% off your entire order, plus free shipping and a free rechargeable frother when you use code OVER50. That's right, up to 43% off with code OVER50 at mudwtr.com. After your purchase, they'll ask how you found them. Please support our show. Let them know we sent you. Keep your energy natural and refreshing all year long with Mudwater, because life's too short for anything less than clean, delicious energy. Welcome back. I'm with Dr. Marjory Nigro today as we dissect GLP-1s, aka Ozempic, aka Mounjaro. I mean, all kinds of new names, new brands that are coming out there. They're essentially the weight loss drugs. They really came to the forefront, I would say, in 2024.
2024 right? is when they really started
Hollywood. Suddenly we started seeing actors and actresses, and they're like, people look at, oh my gosh, they're like super chiseled and super angular, and they've lost a lot of weight. Now, and I think that's why they probably got a bad rap so much in the beginning, because you saw a lot of actors and actresses who were already lean and then were suddenly getting super skinny and taking it way too far. And then, of course, everybody's like, what's that? What's that? And I want that. I think the importance of this conversation is to show what it is and to say, yes, there is an audience and a candidate for it.
Definitely.
But it's not everybody.
No,
and it's certainly not for that woman who may be, 5 pounds away from her goal weight or whatever that is, or anybody who maybe struggles with body image issues or any of that.
Yes.
You've already shared that you take it because of your diabetes. For you, it was a blood sugar regulator, and it's something you've been on for a very long time.
Over, I would say, close to 20 years.
Right. Yeah. So it's a different reason for you. You didn't get into that because of weight loss, but a lot of people are. So we were talking about the candidates and people who are now saying, okay, maybe I have tried all of the lifestyle adaptations. I've tweaked my hormones. I'm moving more. I'm trying to eat better, cleaner, healthier foods, reduce inflammatory foods, do all the things. Maybe now I'm stuck and I'm just not seeing the results, or I'm still having, and let's get back to the fact that really it's all based not just on what we're seeing in the mirror, but we've got a blood panel to look at and consider as well.
Definitely.
Okay. Is that where we start?
That's where we start. So I always tell my patients that this is not like a joke, a little pill you take. This is a medical drug. It really does things to your system. Right. So all my patients, when we get to the point that we decide this is a medication for you, they have to see an endocrinologist. I'm a dermatologist. I don't follow a patient by myself. I need this patient to have a good primary care physician, a good endocrinologist, and I work with the best endocrinologists in Houston. So I have both of those. Many of them I recommend a little touch of psychotherapy too. You need to kind of see what's your relationship with weight and your body and all the stress you're dealing with. In the same way that someone with a stomach ulcer, just giving them the treatment for the ulcer is just going to heal this one and start another one next door to it, right?
What's causing this?
What's causing that? What is the stress that is making you want to eat so much to soothe yourself? Why do you need so much soothing for your stressful life? Because it's hurting you, obviously, the same way alcohol hurts you, smoking hurts you. Everything that you do excessively is going to hurt you. So a big reason for that is the stress of everyday life. And people use different ways of coping with it, right? Some people bite their nails to the bone. Some people make a stomach ulcer. Some people pull their hair out. So some people eat nonstop to just kind of calm the little monster. And that is not going to be resolved with no injection, no Ozempic, Wegovy, nothing. You really need to address that. I recommend to my patients all meditation. I think now there are so many sites out there for meditation.
Great apps, the Calm app. I mean, so many ways. Pray.
The Headspace is a good one too. I love Dr. Chopra also. So all these meditation sites, they became so easy. You can do it. I do it sitting in my bed or sometimes even in my car. Or takes a few minutes and it relieves the stress in a way that it's medically proven. They put electrodes on you and do meditation, simple, easy meditation, silly stuff can really decrease that anxiety and that feeling of being overwhelmed by life in general that we all have. It's not just everybody has that feeling. So treating weight is an entire
process
with the several steps that we have to take. You don't go, and that's the problem now with those drugs. A lot of people go to clinics that are not even run by real physicians, and they're getting those drugs, paying for them, bringing them from across the border, injecting them, and then, it doesn't work.
Well, and what is it? And I'm so glad you brought that up because this is because, as you know, when one thing proves to be good, then many more must be better. And so now it's coming from everywhere, and you see ads everywhere offering this.
Everywhere.
And that scares me, Marjory.
People are mixing things in garages and in places that are not legal. There are these fake pharmacies making those drugs and distributing them. I have it super cheap for $100. It doesn't exist. Obviously, it's not the real drug, or it's watered down like crazy. Then you come in, it
doesn't work.
Yeah, just kind of like what we talked months ago about Botox, you know? I have all these patients go to non-regulated places, get Botox. Botox for me doesn't work. Really? Let's try this, and I'll tell you, if it doesn't work, I'll give your money back. And we do the right Botox and the right concentration. Of course it works. Places that make it cheaper, of course, they dilute it more. There's no miracle going around. The FDA regulated some pharmacies over the past year that are investigated and checked by the FDA. So those pharmacies are making the product in the right way, with the right mixture, in a completely sterilized environment, safe medications, because they have to respond to the FDA. So you don't have to worry about taking something that is nothing you think it is, or getting infections, bacteria, all of those things. So always, always, always go to a physician that is used to do this. Follow up with an endocrinologist. Get your prescription in places that are FDA approved. Ask, is this pharmacy FDA approved? Can I see it? Because a great bargain is not a good bargain.
No,
Don't do that.
You're bargaining with your health.
You are bargaining with your health. Now these medications are being more and more covered by insurance. So the first thing I do with a patient is, me and my friend endocrinologist, we do an A1C on them to measure your level of sugars and insulin and all of that. If you have a high level, I would say at this point, 80% of insurances they're
starting to cover. I started to see that in the news about insurance, more insurance, especially going into 2025.
Definitely.
And I think because they're getting on the bandwagon too, right? They don't want to miss out. Look, insurance is in the business to make money.
Right. And they know when you gain a lot of weight, you cost the insurance more money.
Correct.
You get sicker, you need more medication, your blood pressure, your diabetes, your back is thrown out, you need knee surgery. So the cost of you being unhealthy for the health insurance is hitting them now to say, wait a second, if I can provide a medication that will make you healthy, and you're not going to need to pay for the insurance as much, not as many doctor's visits, not as many surgeries, not as many. It's the perfect world, right? Because I don't want to get sick, and I don't want my patients sick. The insurance doesn't want you sick either. So they're finally getting that because unfortunately, the United States was the most expensive place to get those drugs. I knew about these drugs, of course, because I took them. And in 2022, they started to show some promise on the new ones. And I am a board-certified dermatologist in Brazil, so I go back and forth from Brazil on a regular basis. And the medication here in the United States was costing $1,400 to $1,500. The same.
Per prescription?
Per month. So it is one, what we call a pen, that you decide the dose and you inject that, and the pen will last you 4 weeks. So it was between $1,400
You were having to pay
$1,400
a month.
No, because I'm diabetic.
Yes.
So for me, I was in the old form that you had to take twice a day. And over the past, I was approved for the semaglutide a year and a half ago. And then I switched, right? But in Brazil, the same medication from the same company, in the same pen, in the same everything, costs $350. Always.
Is it because it wasn't yet FDA approved in this country, or was it?
Even when it became FDA approved here.
It takes a while for the cost to go down. I mean, do you remember, it was the big joke was, I guess, Viagra, when it was first released, how expensive Viagra was.
That's
and then all of a
exactly
sudden,
right.
then came the generic and all the prices started to tumble down.
It is absolutely right. So it is coming down, and you can get now real prescription on a pharmacy that formulates it for something around 500, 450, 500, depending on the dose you take. So it is becoming much more affordable. In my belief is that insurance companies more and more are going to want to
cover
that for the health of their patients. And still, you have to get all the pieces of the puzzle. You get the shot, you check your diet, you exercise, you see your physician, of course, for your blood work and everything, and you stay healthy. The same way that in the 10 years ago, it was all about stapling your stomach, right?
Yes.
So everybody that was overweight, let's do that.
But they were doing the gastric bypass surgeries.
Bypass and all the complications that caused to people. And now, after all these years, we are seeing 60 to 70% of people, they're gaining the weight back because their addiction to food didn't end. So people start to increase little amounts. So you sip a milkshake the whole day. So your stomach is smaller, but if you do small amounts, you can consume an enormous amount of food. So treating just one cause of obesity is not going to help you lose weight. Everything has to happen at the same time.
Right.
The stress relief, good food choices. Choose you. I mean, prioritize you, prioritize your meals. Think about what I'm going to eat tomorrow. Prepare your lunch ahead of time. I had to do this my whole life because with diabetes, I can't just
Correct. You can't wing it.
Hamburger and French fries. I went up at the hospital, so I can't do that. So I planned this ahead of time. I give some dietary counseling to my patients. We started something called the Wellness Clinic. That's something I wanted to have done many, many years ago for that. And now that I have an endocrinologist who we go and share patients back and forth, I feel very comfortable doing that. As a dermatologist, for years and years, I dealt with problems in the skin generated by obesity, right? Problems that couldn't be fixed. Acne that would not go away. You do Accutane, you do everything, and they're still breaking out. Hair growing on the chin, loss of hair on the head, something called pseudoacanthosis, that is the dark and the thickness of the skin on folds. Behind the neck, underarms, bikini area, the skin starts to get velvety and thick. This is all because of the increases in sugar, insulin, and weight. And it's a lost battle. I mean, I had these patients coming in and out, and you get them better, they get worse again. And finally, you have to tell them the truth. This is never going to work unless you
deal with the root cause.
The cause of the problem is the weight. We have to work on that. And in the past, I didn't have those ways of addressing that. And now we can. And I mean, it's so rewarding to see someone who waited for years and years and years and did all kinds of crazy diets, and all of a sudden they have hope. I mean, the weight is coming out and they feel so self-confident. They feel better as women, men too, of course, but as women, they feel more sexy. They feel more energetic. They feel more outgoing. They want to dress. They want to buy clothes now versus in the past was this whole thing of like, I go to a store and I cry and nothing fits. So you feel so good and you feel in control.
Yeah.
We want to have some control of our health. when you don't know what's happening to you and every year you're bigger and bigger, it's so frustrating. So now there's a way out of that.
You bring up such a good point, and I hope that there are practitioners listening to this as you talk about compatible practices, right? Because you're talking about you as a dermatologist working in tandem with an endocrinologist and how important that is. Because just to your point, I can't imagine how many people come to you and they struggle with all of those things that you just mentioned. And you're like, okay, you know, we can try this, but is it not putting a Band-Aid on everything or trying to play whack-a-mole, you know, and let's tackle the hair here, but now we've got this and now we've got that. And then this works, but now this isn't working. And what you're saying is that instead of going through and spending all this time and wasting all this money and maybe not even guaranteeing a good result, you're like, I have a feeling this is the root cause of it.
Yes.
I work with somebody who deals with this.
Yes.
Let's tackle this first, and then we can tack on the other things if needed.
Yes. And so we make a plan and we tell you these are all the areas we're going to touch, you know, the meditation, stress relief, better food choices, increase your protein, decrease your carbs. We forbid everybody in that clinic, myself included, no sweet drinks. I mean, this is the thing.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
should know better by now. No juice.
Better.
Yeah.
No juice. I mean, we are born with a juicer, right? You want orange juice, you eat the orange and you juice it.
Right.
Here.
Your stomach acid juices it.
Yes, and it's proven that by doing that, a big part of the sugar content of the orange juice you just made is stuck to the pulp. And you end up getting rid of it through your poop. So you don't absorb all the sugars versus when you juice it, the sugar is free to be absorbed. It's like injecting that on your bloodstream. And what that does to your system is really serious. Kids drinking juice, that should be an absolute no-no because they get really kind of addicted to it. And then it's so hard for you to have these kids drinking water. They have to drink milk, water. This is it.
Yeah.
Adults can drink flavored water, drinks that have zero. That's cool. But water.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole juice generation is not a good thing, and it has made everybody get bigger and bigger and bigger.
You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah,
100%.
Have more problems. So I think the semaglutides and tirzepatides, they are a wonderful adjunct to help people get out of what you just said. When you're stuck, okay, you tried, you got to a stuck phase. You do that. They've been proven to be safer and safer at the beginning. I was kind of concerned. Okay, what about cancer risks? What about the risk of other things
And
happening?
I want to talk about that because I know that's one thing that people are saying, okay, yeah, you know, everything sounds great and it sounds like a great accompaniment, but with any drug, there are side effects.
Of course.
So I want to dive into that with you, Marjory. What are the potential side effects? And also, what does a day in the life of somebody taking a GLP-1 look like? Let's walk it through, start to finish. And do you have to take it for the rest of your life? We will answer these questions and so much more on the backside of this break. A lot of us are focused on big lifestyle changes at the beginning of the year, and that may include gut health for you. And if so, good for you, because fact is, we are learning so much about how the gut microbiome is key to our mental health, immunity, and of course, digestion. And if you're looking for digestive support, Ritual has your back, or your biome, with Symbiotic Plus. It's a 3-in-1 supplement of clinically studied pre, pro, and postbiotics to support a balanced gut microbiome with daily use. I take mine every night, has a wonderful minty essence, and I feel great. You know, I feel less bloating, and I can tell that it is making a difference even in how I process food. The daily 3-in-1 prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic features 2 of the world's most clinically studied probiotic strains that support gut and digestive health. And guess what? It helps because it reaches the colon, not the stomach. The colon is the ideal place for probiotics to survive and grow. So get your gut going. Support a balanced gut microbiome with Ritual Symbiotic Plus. Get 25% off your first month at ritual.com/over50. That's ritual.com/over50 for 25% off your first month. Welcome back. We are doing a deep dive into GLP-1s, Ozempic, weight loss for the new year. Marjory, as you've been talking, Dr. Marjory Nigro is my guest. She's a board-certified dermatologist, but as she's been talking, she works in tandem with an endocrinologist to help people start this journey if this is a journey they feel that they need to be on, starting with a consult, blood work, and full analysis of how they got to where they are and how to get to where they want to go. And it's all about optimal health in the long run.
Yes.
So before we got into the commercial break, we were going to talk about side effects of these drugs. And I really want you to walk us through, should someone decide to go this route after severe and intense thought, preparation, and consultation, what does it mean? What does it feel like? What do they do? And what kind of results can we experience?
Yeah. So basically, I would say, at the beginning when people were thinking those drugs were very, very new, right? They were just thinking what's going to happen, right? And the future, we're going to find out it caused cancer, it increased something else that we don't know right now. But the reality is because the previous drugs of those families have been used for so many years, around 18, 20 years, those drugs have been in the market for diabetics only. We have a big amount of data to compare and to see, do they really increase the potential for cancer, the potential for anything? And the studies that are coming out have been very positive and very promising. I mean, they don't see an increase in the first thing was pancreatic cancer. Oh my God, it's going to increase pancreatic. It did absolutely not increase, didn't increase any other cancers. One research shows an increase in lab rats, not humans. Lab rats had a small increase in a type of thyroid cancer called medullary cancer. It's a very rare cancer that in rats increased. They've never seen that happening in humans. There hasn't been a case yet attributed to it. So basically, in our medical interview, we ask patients who have a family history of thyroid cancer and particularly medullary thyroid cancer. So these patients at this point would be not indicated to go on with the treatment. But other than that, we have seen absolutely nothing. Research is being done, of course.
Yeah, I would
New
think so.
things can come up in the future, but at this point, no. And the one thing we absolutely know for sure is that being overweight increases exponentially.
Well, everything from cancer to heart disease to you name it.
13 forms of cancer are increased exponentially by being overweight. And if you are diagnosed with cancer, the more overweight you are, the worse prognosis you're going to have with your cancer. So this research is established, done. You can find it in any research, medical journals. So we know for sure that being overweight, it is not healthy for you. We are not telling people, oh, we want to make skinny people.
Right.
Absolutely. This is not what this is all about. This is about you having a BMI that is healthy. It's about you not having diabetes, not having high blood pressure, excessive amounts of skin problems, chronic skin problems, and feeling so much better about yourself. So this is, the side effect profile is at this point great, and I feel very confident, and my endocrinologist, primary care, they're all very confident that this is not something we should worry about. What else? The other side effect they said about losing muscle and losing bone mass. Well, that is happening to all of us every day anyway as we age, right?
Is that happening because of the weight loss? And especially when you're older, you will lose.
You don't form as much bone.
Right. So you will lose those things because if you're not in an active building state, your body is going to lose there. So you have to be very cognizant of that and have a very different approach in your health, right?
Absolutely.
Is that a warning? Is that something that is talked about to women over a certain age?
Yes, exercise. Exercise, and you need to do a little bit of aerobic, a little bit of weight bearing. It's extremely important. It changes your life.
Whether you're on a GLP-1 or not, by the way.
All of us.
Right.
All of us. And by seeing people over the past 35 years, I've been a dermatologist, right? they come to me for the secret of never aging, right? Eternal beauty, eternal. Sure, I can get your skin looking really good. I can decrease the number of lines. I can soothe things and all that. But the patients who are exercising, they're so much younger. I can see some 70-year-olds who do yoga, exercise on a regular basis. They are in better shape than many 30-year-olds who don't do any of that. So the secret for a long life to keep your brain active is definitely to exercise and eat healthier. And then, of course, if the weight is still not coming out, sure, you can have some of that. But the exercise is major. I don't give those medications to anyone unless they can explain to me how much they are exercising, where, when, what type of exercise. One of my medical assistants is exercise certifier. So he asks questions, he sees the type of exercise, he monitors those patients for that, encourages them to do it. So I think that's very important.
So there's accountability, which is
definitely.
critical
It has to be.
for something like this. Okay, so let's just say now a practitioner and a patient have decided this is the journey that they want to go on, right? All the boxes have been checked about I've done this, and this. I'm going to move forward now with this, and these are all the things that I'm going to do in conjunction. So how does it start? So obviously you're self-injecting.
Yes. So the first, in the wellness clinic we do the first one. You know, a lot of people feel a little weird and uncertain, and we don't want, those things you have to measure the amount and all that. So the first time the patient comes to the office, we decide the dose to start them in. I generally like to start very low.
What would be a low dose?
A low dose depends on the drug, right? But let's use Ozempic. That is the drug we do. We start with a 0.25.
Okay.
So they come in a pen form, and you twist the pen until you see in the little window how much you're injecting. So we would start with a 0.25 once a week, and we do the first injection, explain to the patient, and we offer the patient.
Where is it injected in the body?
Abdomen.
Okay.
You can rotate abdomen, buttocks,
So just kind of go around the bread loaf, basically.
Pretty much.
Okay.
The needle is minimal.
Right.
You feel absolutely nothing, and all you have to do is clean the skin with alcohol and do it, and you press the button, the injection does everything for you. And you pick the day of the week, so you are a Monday injector or a Tuesday or Wednesday, so you know that that's the day of the week for you.
But you must be consistent every week.
You must be consistent because you don't want to be like out in. Sure, 1 or 2 days, something happened, no problem. But you try to maintain that as much as possible. Injections have to be kept in the refrigerator. If they get warm, they inactivate all the glucagon-like hormones, so you inactivate everything. So you need to keep that refrigerated. And for some patients, we offer them, do you want to come? You can come every week. My nurse will inject for you. So some patients prefer that. I have some patients that are like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with that. I do that. After a while, they become more comfortable. So then we tell you inject in front of us. Let's see how you do it to make sure they know what to do. Then majority of those patients are fine. They come in, they get at the pharmacy the amount that they're going to use for a month. They use it, we monitor the weight, and we decide, do we go up? Do we go? Every patient reacts completely different. There are patients in 0.25 that lost a huge amount of weight. So great, you don't need to go higher. Or there are patients, okay, let's increase. And you can go up to 2-3 milligrams from 0.25. We keep increasing in 0.5 until you get
until you start getting the results that you need.
That's
what will you feel? Walk us through that first week. What are some of the side effects that a patient will experience?
I would say, sure, a little bit of pain where you injected, but nothing major. You could experience a little bit of nausea. So in the morning, you wake up and you're like, and of course, for us women, we know that very well when you're pregnant in those first weeks that you're like, I don't think I can even touch food. It's so bad. And that side effect goes away. Some people say, no, that's too much. I'm too nauseated. I feel like throwing up all the time. So that means that drug is not for them. Then we go to the second category of the trizepatide. And patients that already tell me, my stomach is so picky. I get sick super often. We don't even go to the semaglutide. You go straight to the trizepatide. Still very, very low doses. I wouldn't say any other side effect. Well, the good side effect is you always think you're going to eat more than you are. So at the beginning, you make this dinner plate that is the size you normally do. Yeah. And you are sure you're going to eat that all. Of course, because you eat that all the time. And you start that dinner plate, and all of a sudden, it's like, I'm done. And that's the most curious part of it. And you're like, oh, you enjoy the food. Food tastes really good. Doesn't taste different or anything like that. And you enjoy it tremendously the same way you did before. But then you're like, oh, I'm done. And you can stand up and leave. And that's what the patients really love to see.
Yeah.
That I would finish that plate
and maybe
easy
go for seconds.
And go for seconds. Yeah. And it's so fast.
The first thing that comes to my mind is, okay, so you're eating half of what you used to or whatever that percentage is, right?
Yeah.
How do you make sure that you are getting enough nutrients that your body needs? I mean, I would assume, and I'm not a doctor here, you tell me, do they have to supplement with vitamins, minerals? Everybody does.
I put everybody in a multivitamin of your choice. I put everybody in fish oil supplements for DHA.
Yep.
And everybody, I recommend probiotics also for good bacteria. That I've been recommending for years and years for acne and hair and nails and all of that. That is extremely important. And to know that they're eating a diet that is rich in protein. Always.
Thank you. Because of the muscle.
You need to eat protein,
right?
Minimum 3 to 4 times a day. So it doesn't have to be a big steak because a lot of people don't want to go for that. But really, your breakfast has to have eggs. You can have some breakfast meats, cheese, yogurt. You need to have protein. I always recommend a snack around 10, 11 o'clock. Nuts are a great source. More yogurt. Lunch, you should eat chicken, fish, pork, meat.
Right. Meat
you
and vegetables.
You should have that. Vegetables, eat as much of vegetables portions that you want because they're wonderful for you. Decrease the carbs. So in every meal, try to decrease the huge piece of bread. If you love bread, I love bread, you do a little
smaller
piece of bread.
Right?
So you decrease that. The rice should decrease. The potatoes should decrease. The vegetables should increase and the protein. So always, and we give that to them in writing. 4 to 5 meals a day, including a last meal before bed, is really important to have something, even if it is milk and nuts. You shouldn't be fasting for such a long time when you are trying.
When you're on a deficit, because that's what it's doing. It's putting your body on a deficit.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for those who, by the way, aren't doing GLP-1s and just want to live a healthier lifestyle, what you're talking about is something that you can adapt right now, and you will see results doing that too.
That's it.
So that's a universal food language.
That's absolutely true. I've recommended that for years and years, even before all of that. So 5 meals a day. And that's what is recommended for diabetics. I learned all of this in all the courses I've done and diet and all the balances between the hormones in your system. More protein, more enormous amounts of vegetable. Fruit is also allowed, and decrease the carbs as much as you can. Don't say don't eat. Don't feel like, oh my God, I can't have a French fry. Sure, you can have a French fry. Just don't have the whole bag.
Right.
Share it. Eat some and let go of the rest. So this is for anyone in any of those drugs.
So sensible.
And no drug at all.
At all. So it sounds like they start off with the lower dose and then increases it monthly?
Monthly, we evaluate them.
Okay.
And so we see the weight, we see how they feel, we see all that is going on. And if they're losing, it's a slow loss. This is not something that...
Thank you for saying that, because I'm sure people are saying, oh, good, I'll lose 10 to 15 pounds in a month.
That's exactly right. That's terrible for you, for your metabolism, for you in general. And people who lose too fast are the people that are going to gain back faster because our body monitors your weight constantly, right? So once you've been in a certain weight for a long time, your brain considers this is me.
That's my set point.
That's normal. That's my set point, right? So for you to change that set point very, very slowly, your body's like, okay, that's good. All of a sudden, you go on those crash diets that people used to do and all of that, right? Lose whatever, 15 pounds in a month. In 3 months, you gain 20.
You're right back
Your
on.
body's like, you're starving. You're going to die. Because we have to understand our bodies are made to be like the caveman, right? We were stuck in a cave with your whole family. There's a dinosaur outside. And you can't get out or you're going to be eaten.
Right.
And when the dinosaur is gone, you run for your life and you eat as much as you can. And you bring it to your family and you eat as much as you can, right? And you need all that energy for the fight and flight of the stress of needing that food so much. So when our body sees that we are eating less, maybe there's a dinosaur, maybe there's you're going to die. So our body saves everything, doesn't burn a thing. And that's a problem too. So losing slowly is the best way to do it. It's healthy. You make some muscle with your exercise. You build some bone too. So everything is happening slowly until you get to your point.
Okay. And then what happens when you do get to that sweet spot where you're like, okay, I have
so happy.
Finally arrived. I'm so happy. I feel great. I've learned new ways. I've embodied, new methodology of how I'm eating, how I'm living, how I'm reducing stress, blah, blah, blah. Do you stop cold turkey or
no? Never.
Never. So
never
that's
cold turkey.
Okay. So then do you taper?
Yes.
Or is it something that you have to, for some people, maintain for the rest of your life?
For some people, they will have to do it for life.
Okay.
Okay. Just like diabetics, right?
That's right.
I have to do it for life. I don't have a choice about that. And this is what's going to happen to some people.
How do you know what camp you fall in?
You start titrating, right? So you go, let's say you're taking 1 milligram. I'm going to push you down to half.
Okay.
And follow you for another 3 months. You kept the weight. Okay, this is pretty good. Let's try 0.25. You keep the weight, and of course, we're always saying, continue the exercise, continue a healthy diet, continue activity, and all of that. So then, a lot of patients, you go titrate. Okay, you're good. So after you are without it for 3 to 6 months, you didn't gain the weight, and you feel so in control that you're now so much more likely to exercise. You got here. You have the body you wanted to have. You're light. You feel so good, and you know not to do it, right? So those are the patients that eventually are going to come out of it. A lot of those patients, of course, have therapy together with that for psychotherapy to take care of their issues too, because, if you are an emotional eater and now you don't have those drugs stopping that, you're going to go back to where you were.
Correct.
So therapy, meditation, stress relief.
And hopefully that's being done in tandem with all of this,
course.
right?
So these are the cases that I can tell you we can get off and there's no problem at all. Then there are the patients that you start seeing, okay, in 3 months, gain 2 pounds. Let's talk about that. Okay, let's try. Let me give you another 3 months. The 2 pounds turn into 4 or 5. No, we have to keep you. We are not going to be able to lower you. We're going to push you back up again. More counseling, more to see how the ideal is, even in patients that we know are going to have to do this forever, how low can we get to?
Got it.
Very, very low dose.
Maintenance dose.
Lowest maintenance dose once a week, and they don't feel side effects or anything. Low dose, very unlikely to have stomach issues or any of that. And it is, right? Blood pressure you have to take for life, right? Diabetes medication you have to take for life. So this is a medication preventing those other diseases that would also be for life. So for some people, have to be for life.
Right. And hopefully, for a majority of people, they can figure out all of the other pieces to the puzzle that you've been talking about to be able to maintain on their own. And I understand. I mean, you're right. I mean, for you could never get off because you were born with it and it is what it is. And there are some circumstances and situations that put people in those predicaments. But, it's interesting to see the new assists that are out there. And really, more than anything, kind of busting myths and talking about the reality of it and what's
Yes.
going on, who can, who should, and also what needs to take place in tandem. Because what scares me is seeing all of these ads and all of this accessibility and people just thinking, I'm just a shot away and I'm going to go hunt for the cheapest price and I'm going to get this, but they're not doing all the other things that you're talking about, Marjory, and they're most certainly not being monitored by licensed physicians through licensed pharmacies
That is the
to do
most
this
important
right.
part.
So
Yes.
I thank you
Of
for coming
course.
on and having this conversation.
I love to do that. Wonderful.
I appreciate
You're
you.
always helping people with information and all of that, and I think that's so important.
Well, it's fast. I've been curious about it. I've never used it. I've never had a need to use it, but I know people who do and who have, and I just want to have the conversation.
Yes.
Because I know it's a conversation that's happening in a lot of households, especially now.
Yes,
So
yes,
thank you for that.
definitely.
If people
Sure.
have any questions or want to reach out to you,
Sure.
we will put your information in the
Perfect.
description
Yes.
below.
Oh, it would be a
They can
pleasure.
find you, but more than anything, people are listening and watching from all over the world. They need to talk to and find a practitioner to have this
course.
conversation.
There are so many competent physicians, endocrinologists, dermatologists who are dealing with this medication, being physicians and knowing about health, about your body. So yes, go get help. And if I can help, I'll be glad to do so.
Thank you. Thank you for always being a part of Over 50 and Flourishing and just educating the audience and helping us to make better decisions in our
Yes.
lives, whether it's our skin or our body.
Everything.
Can't wait to
Yes.
have you back. Thanks,
Oh,
Marjory.
thank you.